Alright, class, this is Mr. Beller. I am going over some of these flashcards in an attempt to allow you to put together some terms that we haven't discussed yet with some future information, helping you connect terms with each other, giving you an extra piece of information so you will be able to not only score the max amount of points for your flashcards activity, but you'll be able to start to see and anticipate how these fit into the context of our conversations to come, especially when we start talking about the British colonies. So the first term that you have is charter. An extra piece of information that you could add to the definition of charter is that there were 3 charter colonies: Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. We will spend a lot of attention talking about or discussing why these charter colonies have such a big role in the lead up to the American Revolution. Alright, so the next definition is colonization. I think something that would help you out is looking at 3 different types or 3 methods of colonization: English colonization, Spanish colonization, and French colonization. The English, they were colonized. They were coming up with colonies for religious freedom and money. They lived separate from the Native Americans. The Spanish, money and missionaries. They lived among the Native Americans. Think encomienda. And then the French, we haven't discussed the French, but the French were all about fur trade and spreading Christianity. And they also lived among the Native Americans. Indentured servant. You see the definition there, some terms associated with this. Headright system is on your list, and an event that we will talk about is Bacon's Rebellion, and that is associated with or connected to the idea of indentured servants. The headright system, there you have it. A term associated with this is indentured servant. Tribute. I was kind of having a hard time with this, so an extra piece of information there is that sometimes a tribute is also known as an excessive tax. And so we can probably use this, or we will use this, in the context of the American colonies protesting the new taxes levied on them by the British Parliament, all right, in the years leading up to the American Revolution. Plantation system, some extra information here is that we do need to know, and it will be helpful for you to include this piece of information, that is used primarily in the Chesapeake and Southern colonies. Chesapeake colonies are the colonies of Virginia and Maryland, and then the Southern colonies are North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. You will need to know that information, so I think this is really key to put that on the flashcard. The Columbian Exchange, some extra information here, and a lot of people have been putting this when they've been looking at those factual questions on the jigsaw activity. The introduction of the horse to the New World, that's a key exchange there. The introduction of tobacco and potato to the Old World, that's a key exchange. And then finally, I would underline, I would bold, I would highlight, if you don't put anything else, smallpox and influenza to the New World. Disease, 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 disease. That is the #1 exchange from the Old World to the New World, because it has the largest impact. It decimates the Native American population. I don't care what else you remember about why the Native American population went down. You could talk about the Spanish, you could talk about the British, but disease is the #1 killer of Native Americans. The encomienda system, some terms associated with this: black legend. Because of this harsh treatment of the Native Americans by the Spanish earned the nickname the Black Legend. A person that helped expose the harsh realities of the encomienda system was a Spanish priest named Bartolome de las Casas. Mercantilism. A term to associate with this is the Navigation Acts, or are the Navigation Acts. We will talk about this when we start looking at colonial economies, when we start talking about the relationship that the British had with their colonies. And then last but not least, salutary neglect. An extra piece of information that you can include with this is that the British end the period of salutary neglect after the French and Indian War in 1763, and then they start to really strictly enforce the laws made by Parliament, and this is going to cause resistance, and this will start the lead up to the American Revolution. I hope this video has been some help. If anything else, it will allow you to add some extra information onto your flashcards so you can get those last 2 points.